She poured millions into building the most breathtaking mansion the neighborhood had ever seen. Imported Italian marble. Custom chandeliers. A reflecting pool that mirrored the Texas sky. On the night of her grand celebration, surrounded by investors and admirers, a quiet man in work boots walked through her front door, unfolded a single piece of paper, and claimed every brick, every tile, every column as his own. This is the story of how patience became the ultimate power move. Before we dive in, drop a comment below and let us know where you're watching from. And if you love stories about poetic justice and underdogs who refuse to be erased, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Cornell Banning didn't expect trouble that Tuesday morning. He was returning from a hardware store run, coffee still warm, when he spotted strangers in bright vests hammering stakes into soil his grandfather had worked decades before. The acre wasn't pristine, just dry Texas earth bordered by rusting wire and mesquite trees, but it held 3 generations of family memory. A woman in designer heels and a blazer stood directing the crew like she owned the place. When Cornell confronted her, she barely blinked. "I'm Judith Marrow, HOA president," she announced with the authority of someone used to getting her way. "This land is unused. We're transforming it into something the neighborhood deserves." Cornell's blood ran cold. "This is Banning property. Has been since 1947. Judith dismissed him with a wave. "History doesn't pay bills. Your acre is an eyesore, and we're correcting that." She wasn't asking. She was announcing. And Cornell realized immediately what was happening. She intended to erase his family's legacy and replace it with her vision of progress. That acre wasn't just dirt to Cornell. His grandfather, Elijah Banning, bought it after returning from war in the late 1940s, a piece of permanence in an uncertain world. Elijah taught Cornell how to mend fences with wire and grit, how to walk land with respect. "Boy, dirt's the one thing they ain't making more of. You guard it. You honor it." Those words echoed through Cornell's life even as Plano transformed around him. Subdivisions replaced cornfields. The HOA rose to power, regulating mailbox colors and lawn heights with an iron fist. But Cornell never joined. His land stood separate, a quiet refusal to bow to manufactured conformity. To Judith Marrow, HOA queen and self-appointed neighborhood architect, that acre was a blemish. She envisioned a crown jewel, a Mediterranean villa worth millions that would cement her legacy and elevate property values. She didn't see heritage. She saw opportunity. And she moved without permission. Construction began swiftly. Backhoes tore into the earth. Concrete trucks lined up. Rebar rose like skeletal fingers grasping at the sky. Cornell watched it all, fury simmering beneath a calm exterior. He could have stopped it immediately, lawyers, injunctions, police, but something told him to wait. "Let her build," he told his cousin Jerome. "Every brick she lays just strengthens my case." Judith paraded through the site daily, hosting investors and giving interviews. "This villa will redefine Plano," she declared to a Dallas magazine. When asked about ownership, she laughed. "Technicalities. What matters is vision." Cornell documented everything: invoices, shipments, timelines, photos. While neighbors whispered that he'd given up, he was quietly assembling an airtight case. His attorney confirmed what Cornell already knew: the deed was ironclad. His name. His family's sweat. His land. Months passed. The villa grew magnificent: imported stone, Venetian mirrors, chandeliers flown in from overseas. Judith's confidence soared. She believed arrogance and ambition could overwrite law. Cornell let her believe it. The night of the grand unveiling arrived like theater. The villa gleamed under floodlights. A red carpet stretched across the driveway. Champagne flowed. Guests marveled at marble columns and hand-carved moldings. Judith floated through the crowd in a silver gown, basking in admiration. To progress, she toasted, glass raised high. Then Cornell walked in. He wasn't dressed for a gala, just jeans, boots, and a button-down. But he carried something more powerful than designer clothes, the deed. Folded, aged, stamped with county seals. The room fell silent as he unfolded it. Elijah Banning purchased this acre in 1947, Cornell said, his voice steady and unshakable. It passed to his son. Now it sits in my name. Every brick, every tile, every chandelier in this house stands on my soil. Which makes it mine. Gasps erupted. Phones appeared, recording. Judith's face drained of color. "This is a stunt," she stammered, voice cracking. Cornell stepped closer. "The county clerk won't call it a stunt. The title's on record. Every dollar you spent landed on my property the moment you broke ground." Her champagne glass shattered in her trembling hand. Cornell turned to leave, pausing only to address the stunned crowd. "Remember this night, not as a celebration, but as a lesson about what happens when pride outruns respect." By morning, the story exploded. Local news became state news. National outlets picked it up. Judith was removed as HOA president. Investors sued. The mansion she built to immortalize herself became the monument to her downfall. Cornell didn't gloat. Standing by the reflecting pool weeks later, he thought of his grandfather's words, "Land doesn't forget its owner." When asked what he'd do with the villa, Cornell answered simply, "Haven't decided. But one thing's certain, it's mine. Always has been." The $6 million mansion stands today not as Judith's dream, but as proof that patience, respect, and legacy outlast arrogance every time. If this story moved you, subscribe for more tales of poetic justice and underdog victories. Drop a comment below. Where are you watching from? Let's keep this conversation going.